Welcome to State of Consciousness Podcast with your hosts Gabriela Fernandez and Riue, along with various other community collaborators, who will take you on a journey to explore through their individual offerings and services how they are contributing to the greater shift on the planet. If you are interested in how you can both experience and become a part of this energy, sit back and give a listen, as we are all one.
Welcome, everybody, to the very first episode of the State of Consciousness podcast. I am one of your hosts, Gaby Fernandez, and I'm here with Riue, our other host, and owner and founder of InnerSource Wellness Center. So I'd love to kick it off by asking Riue for you to share a little bit about yourself and the intentions for the podcast.
Thanks, Gab. Well, first of all, this is an exciting time for us because we've been trying to do this for some time. So thank you, Gabby. I'm excited that we're finally here at this point and we're able to really do this at this time, because I think it's a real important time, especially with what's going on the planet right now, and what IWC has represented in the community. And as many folks have known, our main mission has really been to support people during this time of ascension, right? And help provide services to assist them making that movement to their highest and most purposeful self. Being able to connect with the planet so that Mother Gaia really gets an opportunity to benefit from all of it. And also making folks aware of all the people who are out there in the community who are doing similar work, right? Whether they're local or they're in different states or they're out of country. And it just so happens that IWC, over its almost 7-year time frame, has been able to connect with people in all those places. And we have a lot of different people supporting the center. So, just keeping in line with, the mission of the center and the things that we're trying to do to support community, we thought it would be an even wonderful time to be able to utilize our platform to have discussions with other individuals out in the community, who and allow them the opportunity to be able to share their mission, as well as providing them as a resource for folks.
Yes, absolutely. It's coming at such a great time, and folks are already so excited to get to be a part of it and share a little piece of their story and their journey with us. So you mentioned the 7-year trajectory of IWC. So I'd love to know or hear a little bit about the very beginning of InnerSource Wellness Center and where it started and what has led us to where we are today within the community.
Yeah, we've had some kind of journey, haven't we? Mm-hmm. And I've been so blessed to have you as part of that journey, and most of that journey, if I will, and most of our growth has occurred within that time frame that you've been a part of it as well. So I'm very thankful and grateful for that. But when IWC first began, and just to we'll have to start at a given juncture, because there's a journey before the journey. But the intention was really to create a healing space. Okay. But what did that mean? What did that mean? Because we are a healing space overall, but what were the components of that? And, of course, just like every other person that has these magnificent visions, I had these humongous visions of what IWC was going to be, but I had no idea of what that would require, right? I had no idea that it was going to require some healing from me as well, shedding of some layers. And for whatever reason, as I've mentioned to many folks, I thought it was going to be a situation where I was going to open up this healing center and all of us were going to be standing in a circle singing Kumbaya and just love, 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 love. Well, surprise. So, the intention of creating the healing space was to really be able to share the gifts that I had come in touch with throughout my journey up to that point, which meant a lot of the different services from the healing standpoint. Then the other part of it too was this working with plants, working with nature, and creating a space to help support, educating, not so much educating, but helping people remember things that are already part of who they are, help them remember, the practices of our indigenous ancestors, and bringing those things back to light, because I don't really believe that we're learning anything new. We're just remembering things that we've forgotten, because there are so many things in this world that can disrupt that remembrance. There's a lot of illusion, distortion, and that's all intentional as well, because that's all part of our journey. So we've had some time. We definitely have had some time, and it's created a lot of wonderful shifts with me as well. So as IWC has grown and expanded, I've also been able to release and shift and heal. And so it's almost like it's a living organism, and it's infinite. It's going to continue to do that. So where we are right now, we have been able to not only have the healing practice, but we have the permaculture urban farm component of it, as well as the herbalism and the apiary, with our apothecary. We really are trying to focus a lot on also the educational piece, as I mentioned, and the sharing of the space. We want the space to be available for the community to be able to use. So that's probably a good summary anyway as to, where we are, how we got here. Most people know that I was in the corporate environment for a number of years, and there were a lot of decisions that I had to make and accept to move into the space that I am in right now. And I don't regret any of it. And not all of it was easy. But I kind of feel that the center's at a turning point right now based on all of the hard work, effort, support that many internal as well as external have made to the center.
Yes, definitely. Well, it's such a gift to get to go to the center every so often, because I'm not local to the area. InnerSource is in Delaware and I live in Maryland. So when I get to visit, I get to see all the changes and all of the shifts that have happened, from the building of the greenhouse and all of all the work that's been done on the property and on the land, and just new faces that keep popping up, coming to be a part of all the movement and all the beautiful projects going on.
Yeah, and I have to I want to ask you a question, because here's the thing that many people may not know. You have a lot of incredible things you're doing outside of the center, and you've taken on a very huge chunk of being like the number two person here. And so, I think it's important for our audience to hear what keeps you being a part of this, because this is really heart work for you, in many ways. There's something that you have tapped into that that makes you want to continue to be a part of this. And I think that that really is kind of the foundation of why we're even doing this podcast, why we want to be able to highlight different people.
Mhm. Yeah, well, thank you for asking that. From even before I came to the center and was first introduced to you and InnerSource, I had been going through my own journey of kind of rediscovering who I am and what my long-term goals and dreams are. And a lot of that, most of it had to do with, you know, personal development and growth to be able to then share that with the world. So yoga and meditation and everything that has to do with, healing any kind of wounding or patterns or ancestral even trauma and work like that were things that I was already kind of dipping my toes in. And then once I came across InnerSource, it was just like everything kind of started to fall into place even more, because these were all the things that the center offers, that you're offering, between the healing practice and the permaculture and herbalism and healing yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, all of it. So it was just a really beautiful connection, and I'm so grateful for that. And so I'm still continuing my study in permaculture and herbalism and getting, as much experiential knowledge as I can through the center and through the community. And then I also have a history and a background in marketing. So that fuses well together, because I have a little bit of that business side, the logistical, and that has helped with the organization piece, kind of keeping all the wonderful ideas and intentions and just all the ideas that you come up with and that we come up with together through our meetings, and just getting them, kind of putting them a little bit like on a plan or on a strategy or a calendar, and making it happen, even though it's just the two of us, plus
Mhm.
a lot of wonderful volunteers and help here and there. But it's a lot. It's a lot
Yeah.
of work.
And I'm glad you kind of mentioned that, because a lot of people, I've often been asked by people, wow, you must have a cast of thousands behind you to help support the things that you've been doing and the growth that's been happening at the center. And I guess one of the awarenesses that I've had through the process, it's not the quantity, it's always the quality, having the right combination of people, and having, for me, I tend to be this kind of quirky creative person, that stuff just spills out of my brain at every moment, and there's very few people a lot of times that can just catch that information before it hits the floor. um, and I've also had the opportunity to work with you in a true business environment too. So those skills that you carry are pretty incredible, and we're so very blessed to have you here. And it's just having the compatible folks, like we have now. Three urban farm managers. One of them is also has a marketing background, and going to be doing some community outreach. And he's absolutely wonderful, awesome personality, Robert Slotzenhauser, and he actually came through our PDC. And he just has one of those personalities where he just wants to learn more and more and more and more and do more and more and more. So one of the common aspects that are part of this team are these infinite learners, who just, no one on this team feels as though they've arrived. It's just, this want, and the want to serve, and to serve in a way to support folks. We have Bob Daniel and Nick Lex, who also come with a lot of experience. And then we have Mateo, who supports our videography, and the things that he does for us, we're kind of a drop in the bucket relative to a lot of the things that he has his hands into. This guy's doing major producing, right? But he'll turn something around to us like nothing, and it's not a burden for us. So it's almost like the energy that's been facilitated here is allowing us to continue to draw the right partners. Most of our consideration now has to do with trying to practice discernment in some way because we have so much coming our way. But yeah, I mean, I feel incredibly blessed because in a three-dimensional world, the quality of folks that are part of the team, I would not be able to come in and support them. So it has to come from a different place.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm very grateful and feel very blessed too to have been able to, be part of this team and to see our growing team with each one bringing their own unique set of skills and excitement and just energy to the pot. So
Mhm.
exciting. So with some of that we have going on, do you want to elaborate a little bit on some of our ongoing initiatives at the center?
Yeah, so we're one of the things that we've had a lot of discussion around recently is it's the what and the how. And like, okay, we put that out to the universe, what's next for us? We know we're growing. We have to have some ability to sustain ourselves. So sustainability is a big part of our tenet. We um practicing sustainability in all those various facets, but and looking at the environment within IWC, more or less from us being able to continue to do the things that we're doing the way we're doing it, we had to kind of seek some vehicles around that. So we've had a number of, different foundations coming our way recently, some of which were a huge, huge opportunity, but not necessarily the right fit. Some of those we're actively working with one, and actually going through a strategic planning process to kind of figure out what the next iteration of IWC is going to be. Are we going to develop a not-for-profit as part of our LLC? Kind of what that's going to look like. What are some of the different things that we will be doing? So that's kind of one of the things. And in conjunction with that, one of the reasons we're having to really explore that is because we are developing a lot of education. We have education that we've not even been able to get out to the community yet. We have so much, whether it's experiential here on site or things that we've developed so that we can put them online. So, one of the big initiatives that Gabby's working on is rolling out our education platform. That's going to happen this year. Of course, this podcast was one of our major things to get rolling. So we do have a number of guests lined up that we are going to be pulling from the community. And like I said, they're going to come from local, across the state, United States, and then outside of the United States, because we want folks to get more of a global perspective. We have our online merchandising, if you would say, where we're going to be able to offer to the community some of our items from our apothecary, because I've been wild crafting out the wazoo. There may be a case that we can feature some of those items of some of the collaborators that we have out in the community as well, because we are developing a model of equal exchange around that. We are going to be harvesting from our beehive for the first time this year. So we're going to have products that are going to be coming out of that as well. And we more recently reopened up our healing practice. So that's going to continue to expand. We're going to be inviting community collaborators who are in line an alignment with the center to be able to do their services through IWC. And we're just keeping ourselves open, right? One of the things, the biggest lessons that I've learned that I had to really do some deep work around coming out of the corporate environment because they had so socially engineered my way of being was you can change direction, right? If you're getting this feeling, this is being driven from within as opposed to the mind. If you're getting a feeling, a strong feeling that something needs to shift, then there's a reason for it. And basically, Gabby, if you recall, you and I pretty much had to do that out of necessity, you know, because the center started growing so fast with the things that we were offering that we recognize, okay, from an operational standpoint, you really had two people that were managing things. So we had to do things that we were capable of being able to manage, you know, with some of our other things that we're involved in. And that was one of the reasons that last year we had temporarily closed the healing practice. And now we're bringing that back and bringing it back in a more expanded form. And we're also going to be offering those services virtually as well, which is something that we were doing on an occasional basis. But what that does is that gives us more of ability to be available because we have had a number of people come our way around that.
Yeah, it's very exciting to be opening up the healing practice and to get to share some of the harvest from the land.
Oh yeah, that's going to be so cool.
What else
I
have you harvested? You mentioned the honey that's coming.
well, we have, what I had been doing is over the past probably 6 months to a year, because you gotta especially with the medicinal herbs, you want to be able to harvest them at their peak time, right? And so what I have is a lot of those different herbs, whether they're the roots, whether they're, because I believe in utilizing the whole plant in the medicine, which is, the aspect of spagyrics, which is been taken not only from my Native American Indian background, but reintroduced when I was going through the education with the evolutionary school of herbalism, and the approaches that they have, and really combining all the different disciplines of herbalism. And so, having said that, what I have been accumulating in my apothecary are all the different herbs to be the foundation of the different tinctures and tonics and things that I'm going to be making, which is really good. I have mushrooms stored and dried in my freezer, different berries, all kinds of things. And then in combination with some of the things that typically don't grow here, like I grow the moringa, right? And turmeric, and white sage, because we have the opportunity to grow a lot of things that we historically weren't able to because we have an indoor growing area. And then we have the greenhouse. And it was funny because the other day, Charlie Kane was here and he was fixing our gate that he handcrafted for us. He was fixing the latches. And he looked at the shelving that was in the new hanging shelving that was in the greenhouse. And he was like, wow, this is cool. He said, you have like a full-fledged farm here because of your growing capacity. And I said, yeah. So the other thing is to be able to educate people. They can do things in a different way. Who would have ever thought, we're slightly over an acre space. We've got close to 1,000 tree seeds that are outside in the ground, which they're going to pop up. And we're going to be able to pot those up and we'll have those as part of our nursery, right? someone ordinarily would say, well, where in the devil are you growing those things, right? And we haven't even started growing inside the greenhouse yet. So we've got these 6 foot, 10 foot long trays going across the greenhouse. We have two gigantic stands that are 4 or 5 major shelves deep for indoor growing space. So there's going to be a lot growing on, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
So
Pretty incredible.
yeah, yeah. And so this is going to be the first full year usage of our greenhouse. Even though this is going into the third year, this is going to be the first full year that we've been able to start at the beginning of the cycle. Like we started sowing seeds last weekend inside for the first time, right? We have a lot of things to sow, and things are going to start growing. So, that's a nice thing. And then we're really trying to encourage volunteerism. We have as of more recently, we're probably going to have some of the 4-H students from Bellevue coming down at least once a month, because 3 of the PDC members that just graduated out of the cohort, they are working in different positions up there. So we also have another school possibly down in Townsend. They're interested in having their students to here. So we're opening the space up to that type of thing, plus the folks that ordinarily would come to volunteer. So it's going to be kind of an exciting time. We're seeing new faces come into some of our weekly events, and we have a lot of people coming through for tours. I always encourage folks, if they want to stop by the center on weekends, they can do that. And then we have so many different partners, right, that are doing some cool stuff. And those are some of the folks that we'll get a chance to talk to on our podcast. So yeah, so like I said, there's a lot growing on.
And that reminds me, for those who are in the area or whoever wish to travel and visit the center, can you give us a little rundown of some of those weekly or monthly events that people can participate?
Oh yeah, sure. So now we brought back every Monday night, and we're doing our podcast right now on a Monday evening. Our podcast run here. So Monday evening we do a meditation, Reiki, or not Reiki. We call it an energy share because we allow various energetic modalities to participate. If people are practitioners of any sort, then they get the treat. And then folks who are not practicing or have an interest, they get to be treated. And then we kind of reverse, right? So it's a sharing. It gives folks an opportunity to feel their own energy, feel the energy of others. And a lot of folks that start coming to these, they end up becoming Reiki practitioners. We have quite a number of folks, Reiki or quantum healing, or they go into tapping or something of that nature. So, and that's by love donation. So that's every Monday at 6:45. We generally end somewhere between 8:30 and 9. We start off with a grounding meditation. And folks get a chance to chat a little bit. So it's, some community interaction. And that's always really good way to start off the week and clear the energy, clear your mind, ground, get some perspective. And then we also have once a month, we have our drum circles. I believe they are supposed to be the third Saturday of every month, but check our calendar for that. But again, that's an opportunity for us to get together and make some joyful noise, right? And those are always fun. Depending on the weather, if we have inclement weather, we have our studio so that they're inside. And then, when weather gets nice, we have nice fire pits outside, so we do them outside. We have instruments here to share. And we generally do that potluck style. So people want to bring something to share and or they want to make a donation. That's available for them. So that's another, these are ways that we set up for people to come and experience the center without it necessarily being some paid, um, you know, a paid consultation or a paid appointment. Because another big piece of this for us is making things accessible, right? And if people want to invest further in their healing, then they know they have the option to do those paid services. We also, on a quarterly basis, which is one of our big events, is we do our shamanic healing sound journey cacao ceremony. And that is a combination of work that Gaby and I do. We will also be hosting other folks in the community sometimes to participate with us. And so that is a community event, generally lasts 2 to 3 hours. It's a very powerful opportunity for deep healing work and to open up some different spaces. So again, we have that as love donation. These are all very wonderful things for people to, again, have an opportunity to be exposed to. We also, starting in May, the third week, was it the third, actually in May, on Wednesday evenings, we will have our soul journey discussion groups. So that's an opportunity to really discuss spirituality, esoteric ancient wisdom. I generally do some readings from the Akashic records as a start, because I'll basically ask the question, what is it that you want us to all know for this period of time? And I generally will do that channeling before we actually have our soul journey discussion group, because that whole process for me is about a 3 to 4 hour process of receiving the energy, because I read it from vibration and then translating it. And I will share that with the group. And we use that to facilitate our conversation topics. So if folks have an interest in that, that's a way also of healing, of getting in touch with esoteric ancient wisdom. We also allow folks to suggest different things that they would like to discuss, so it's a way to build community. So just out of those events, including our opportunity for the community volunteer days every Saturday from 10 to 4, a person can come here and get quite a bit and not be able to participate because it may not be in their budget. But that is an offering to the community to facilitate people being able to take advantage of their own healing journey. And that's something that we will always do in that manner, because I think it's really necessary at that time. Did I hit everything, Gaby?
Yep, you got it.
Okay.
And I just wanted to add that it's been so beautiful to just witness the community coming together in all of these events and the accessibility of it all, and just seeing kids come too and learning, seeing, shamanic journey or a drum circle or walking on the land and seeing where things grow. It's been so wonderful. And it's sprouted so many ideas. I've seen people come together, collaborate on a project in their community, or talk about a mothers and daughters cacao ceremony they want to start together. And it's been such a catalyst for such wonderful change in the community. So it's really a gift, and I'm excited for what's ahead.
And our hope is, of course, we're sharing these things, but as you mentioned, Gaby, we wanted to be a catalyst for people to go out and do their thing, right? It's like the flower of life. We wanted to keep expanding. And I think the most beautiful comment that I've ever received from someone in the community has been that, the importance of IWC has been showing people what's possible and giving them some energy to want to do something themselves, and then knowing they can do that, right? Because that's how the change is going to happen in the world. We need our collective energies to align. We need to be recognizing that we're all interconnected, and we need to be recognizing this importance of things. And I know a lot of times what people do is they get a little bit gun shy when they hear the word spirituality, because it drums up these feelings of, oh, the religion, the hardcore traditional religion that they had to go through and be subjected to, when they were growing up. But spirituality in itself has to do with our connection, and knowing that not only are we connected to some higher power, not only and it doesn't matter what we call it, right? Because different cultures call it different things, but something that's bigger than we are. But in that, because of that, we're all connected to one another. And, it's my feeling that that's kind of what's gotten lost in the translation. And it's something that has been intentionally blocked, right? This separation, right? This idea that there's separation, this idea that there's duality, right? There's this or that, or there's this idea of lack, or you have to sacrifice to become. We already are, right? And so, that to me is like the most powerful thing that you could share with somebody, to say, you already are. You already are that. All right, now just take that and do what you need to do with it, right? There's none of this. And so, there have been people that have recognized that that's what that's one of the main things that we're trying to share. And I think that's beautiful.
Absolutely. And the healing, consultations and deep dives can do so much. Absolutely. But even just starting with a community gathering and that empowerment of being around other people who are lifting you up is just that tip of the iceberg. And then they can go deeper and deeper with the.
Yeah. And there are people have had some, just through the community work, have had some powerful openings. And and here's the other thing, as and I need to mention this, is because it's something that I've struggled with all along while having the center, because it is a business as well. But I also believe that it's like the dog wagging its tail, when you're opening yourself up to that higher purposeful energy, that the things come to you that need to come to you. But you also have to balance that with the sustainability piece. And I've probably done more work for free in this whole time that I've been here than paid work. And certainly, people like to have some sense of what's the costing around your services. So we cost our services in a very fair way. It's comparable to what you would see out there with everybody else. But my MO is, if there's somebody who comes to me and I really know that they need to have some support, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure they get it, right? And we have enough resource in the community who feel the same way, right? Because we all know that that's very important. So I don't want anybody to ever feel that, we would turn them away. Now, having said that, there are going to be times where people may come to me and I may feel that they're better suited to work with other practitioners, or there may be some things that I think other practitioners can offer them, because at the end of the day, I want them to get the best that they can receive for the work that they need at a given point in time. But having said that, we are a space that is constantly thinking about how can we make things accessible, whether it's the healing work, whether it's the education around certain things, whether it's different workshops, retreats. it's important for me to know that the folks who, as I mentioned, who need to have the support, know that we are accessible for that.
Yes, thank you so much. Speaking from the community.
Mhm.
Very, very grateful for that. Wow. So we could grab any one topic from everything that we've spoken today and do a whole podcast episode about it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
excited that this is just the beginning.
Yeah. And we have some, Gabby, do you want to kind of talk about, you don't have to give the, give up the bag by telling them who we're going to be speaking to, but maybe some of the topics that we're going to be talking about with different people, or, um, some of the topics that we may be talking to certain folks about.
Yeah, sure. So between all the different collaborators that we have and just new friends and partners in the community, we're going to be talking about herbalism, permaculture, sound healing, nutrition and wellness, holistic health
I know
from
I put you off guard there. What we have, we also are going to try to dig really deep into kind of understanding that, these different practitioners' journey, right? Just like you asked me at the beginning of this podcast, like, you know, tell a little bit about your journey. We want to hear, yeah, this is what you're doing right now. What led you to do this, and why do you think it's important? Because people need to understand that there's an energy associated with all this. If I'm a beekeeper, I didn't just decide I was going to be a beekeeper. There's something in my life that happened in my journey, and sometimes it can be the most infinitesimal thing, and sometimes it's something that people came into this world with, right? But what caused you to want to do this, and why do you think it's important? Sometimes people have had traumatic experiences in their life that have caused them to want to, you know, share things in a certain way, because we're not only going to be talking to people on the holistic side of the house, but we want to get those folks who are also integrating between the holistic and the scientific side as well, because those things are very integrated, right? When the mind and the heart work together in sync, it can be a beautiful thing. It's just that the mind simply thinks that it's in control. That's the part that we're moving away from. It doesn't want to be a paddle or an oar in the water. So a lot of these conversations that we're hoping to engage in are to be beyond just folks telling, okay, this is my service I'm offering. We want to know about who they are, right? And I think when the community understands more about who different people are, um, then that energy is part of their product, right? Their energy, it becomes part of their product, and folks understand why they might be receiving or feeling something about a certain product. This is like the same way I kind of look at plants, right? Plants are these beings, they have this intelligence that's supposed to be teaching us. And we need to have this sacred reverence with them. We need to work with them. We need to ask them for their knowledge, and try to understand who they are, right? And have that respect. And in turn, we get this beautiful medicine. And the medicine will be carried forward in that way. And that's the same with everything. So, our hope is that we get a chance to dig deep, right? We want folks to be able to tell their story. We want them to share who they are. We want folks to be able to share their journey.
Absolutely. We want to be a vehicle for building connection and spreading the stories and the messages that are impacting the world today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm excited to get this out to the people. And before we go, do you have any last thoughts or comments or any questions
No,
for the community?
the only thing I would always is I'd like to open things up to the community, but if there are certain topics that the community would like to be able to explore, please feel free to send us an email. We have enough connection and enough resource that we would be more than happy to do our best, as it aligns with the mission of the center. And you know, feedback is always wonderful, because the point of us taking the time to do this is to serve the community, serve all of you. But we wanted to do this introductory email so that, or email. Wow, come get things straight here. We wanted to do this introductory podcast so that most of you who are on our network, you kind of know bits and pieces of who we are, but we also wanted folks to collectively know why we're doing this and kind of get some grounding around that.
Absolutely. And so I'll be sure to include every link to where they can find us in the show notes here, because we have a variety of platforms that we use to keep in touch with the community, whether it be through our website, newsletter, Facebook page, YouTube videos, and more coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this interview and this first podcast, and that you'll stick around for future conversations.
Thanks for joining us at State of Consciousness Podcast. We hope you enjoyed spending time with us and look forward to the next time. Until then, if you'd like to stay connected, you can feel free to reach out to us via our website at www.InnerSourceWellnessCenter.com. There you will find links to our podcasts, our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel, as well as our mailing list. Stay connected, stay positive. Namaste.